Hello, thank you for joining me in my studio. Replay viewers, you know exactly what to do. Just fast forward to the good stuff. This is Bernae Flournoy, art teacher by day, portrait painter by night, and paint party instructor. All right, and I make art kits too. Custom kits, if you please, if you need those as well. So check out my site, thepaintedpost.com. I don't have my shirt on today. I have that I'm representing Indiana today, and it's green. People have actually been cutting their grass, and it's April. I hope you're having an amazing day. Hope you had an amazing week. Thank you for joining me painting this easy, beautiful purple church hat for spring, right? So we've got a little cutie pie right here. We've got the canvas ready to go. We're going to squeeze out a little paint and we're ready to get started. So come on and join me. I will put the reference shot up from time to time. There we go. The paint cam is ready. There we are. Let's make sure this is not wobbling too much. All right. There we go. So I have my water. No, I don't. Let's put some in there, shall we? Got my water here. All right. Let me move this over here. And Bob is here too. For those of you that want to know whether or not Bob is in the studio, he most definitely is. All right. He's always in the studio. One of the first inspirations online. All right. So we're going to pop these open. These are the paint pots. Of course, I've got my bottles of paint out here, but sometimes this is nice to have everything contained. So I'm going to pop these open right quick just so you could see. It's not too hard. I kind of pinch and squeeze as I go, but you have to be careful, especially when they're brand new. Now these I've been using for a moment, even though there's still a lot in here, right? Now, even though we have our reference, okay, we're going to go back and forth with that. I think I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of blue right on this plate and then mix up our colors, our purple. All right, there's a paint booger. And it happens, y'all. Just get a toothpick or something and get that out of there. I am reaching for a little bit of my pink here. And I like to use 3 parts of the lighter color to 1 part, and sometimes maybe half a part of the darker one. So I've got plenty of pink out there, and I've got some in my paint pot. So we're good. We're ready. All right, now I have set up the camera in such a way that I can't hardly see. I can't hardly see, but we're going to try to make it a good shot for you. So let's get in here and let's mix up a little bit of purple. All right. I'm just going to add whatever little water. Oh, did we not take care of our brush? You know what? We may not have cleaned that brush out so well that last time. All right, I'm just going to add just a little bit of water going along there. Let's see. I'm going to mix the paint up with the smaller brush. So I'm going to put 1, 2, and we're going to say that's 3 dabs, and I'm going to go in here and get half a dab of the blue. And you see that purple is starting to form very quickly. I'm going to grab a little bit more. So now we have 3 parts pink or magenta, fuchsia, whatever you can find there. I wouldn't do the pastel pink. So we have 3 parts of the pink to 1 part of the blue. And then we're going to go ahead and get started, at least with our first coat. Okay. And I'm just wiggling it into the canvas here. All right. Trying to stay in these lines, but if you go outside of them just a little bit, that's okay too. Let me get a little bit more of this paint, and this will just be one coat. All right. And I wet the canvas a little bit because the studio lights are kind of warm, so I wanted to give me a little more wiggle room because this acrylic will dry kind of fast on you. All right, here we go. Let me get a little bit of this paint and come along this edge here. I'm going to push down a little bit. So we know we're going to come back for a second coat on this. Don't have to, but I want to. All right, so we got this first coat on here, and I just kind of wiggled everything in. I'm going to smooth everything out. Trying to get close to that tulip, and I got a stray hair on this brush that's kind of acting up. I'm going to get just a little bit more paint. And I see that my pink is a little old. Got a little paint booger here. Let's get that out of there. All right, so now we're just going to smooth this out. And because we're coming back with that second coat, that will help with some of the brush strokes. Okay. Going in with the corner of my brush to kind of get into that little V area. All right. I'm just lightly going over some of those. Okay. So you're going to have a few brush strokes. All right. So that's enough for that part there. And then we're going to go right on over in here. Now, if you wanted to add a background, you can do that. You may want to do that first. You know, work from the back of the picture to the front. Okay. Now I went over that ribbon a little bit. Let me grab me a little piece of Q-tip or a little piece of paper towel to try to fix that real fast. Now this is right here near this edge. Let me get this done. And let me stop and clean up my mistake. All right. Now let me smooth this out just a little bit. And so it'll be ready for that second coat here shortly. Okay, let me pop that down. I'm just going to go right along this edge right here, clean this up a little bit while it's still wet. And that's with a little piece of Q-tip. It left a little bit of purple there, but that's okay. We'll be able to handle that. All right. Let me take a quick peek over here. Let me pop in our reference. All right. Let me see if I can find the correct configuration here that would better convey what we're trying to do here. Boy, this computer is fighting with me today. Let's see about that. Trying to look for the paint cam. I think we got it there now. All right, so there we go. That's probably the best configuration I can get to show everything. All right. So is that the one I'm on? I'm trying to make sure I am on the right one. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right. So that's zoomed in a little bit. And now we're just going to go right on back and continue. So let me double check the reference, make sure we're good. Then we can do a little bit of the brown, a little bit of the pink. You know, we can get on in here. I am going to get a little bit of white over here. And I think I remember from last time, this white is a little bit dry. So I'm going to add a little water up in here and come on over here with my pink. Okay. And it doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to grab a little bit of that red and come on over here. And I may need to do 2 coats of this as well. I'm just going to paint over everything because I can see all the lines. Okay. Boy, this pink is, honey, let me make sure I throw this one in the trash. Some of this paint I have had for a moment. If I grab it, if I don't use it, it'll sit there for a moment. And then sometimes I realize, oh, this is not good. I don't know if you have any old paint lying around there. All right, so we're getting our first coat on here, and then we'll come back with a few subtleties. Okay, let me go in here. Okay. All right, so we got some pink up in here. There is a lot of very nuanced coloring. Honey, I may have to get rid of this pink. It's still holding up pretty good, but there are paint boogers all up in there. So let me go ahead, back and forth. And then I'm going to blend this out. Let me grab a little bit of this black. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit. And I think I did go outside those lines over here, didn't I? I sure did. All right. Okay, I'm just cleaning up some of this color that's gone way over these lines with just a little bit of water in the brush. Just kind of mopping it up. All right, let's go on up in here a little bit. Okay. Now I'm wondering if this should be a part 1 and a part 2. All right. So here we are. We're getting some of the subtleties, getting them started. All right. That first coat is just about dry up here. Okay. Now I really want to go ahead and get that black hair going. But what I think I might do really quickly is go on back here and get some of this background going. Just adding just a little bit of water, not a lot, just to make sure that this paint does not dry too quickly. I'm going to add a little bit of white around. And you can stick as closely with the reference shot as you'd like, or you can, interpret it differently, add your own little creativeness to it. So I'm glad I'm doing this before we added our second coat of purple. So I am kind of going over that purple a little bit, and I'm okay with that because I know I'm going to do a second coat. All right. So we're just going to wiggle this stuff on here. Now, most of the time at a paint party, I'm going to tell you while you have the paints to make sure that you paint along the sides of the canvas while the paint is out there, because it's not going to be that much more paint. So you might as well use it. All right. There we go. We are slowly but surely. I'm going to clean out some of this blue out of my brush. And I'm just going to go right on over this hair part right here. And I probably need to let me get a little piece of paper towel. And wet this up just a little bit. And I know Susan uses the baby wipes. That is a really good technique. I'm just going to dab right along over here for a little cloud transition. Okay, so this is not a baby white, but it'll kind of give you a similar effect. I still want a little bit of light blue back up over here. So I'm just going to fade all this out. Okay, and you got to be careful about the little crumbs that might start to form. Okay, and I'm just dabbing before we get this second coat. Okay, I'm okay with that. It's got a little color in the background. Not a lot, but we got a little something back there. And it's drying really, really fast. All right, so that first coat of purple is now ready for a second coat. And I think what I'm going to do is not use this pink. Okay, I think I am not going to use this pink right here. Let me see, what am I doing? Okay, just coming through here just a little bit. Well, I got just a little bit on here. Okay, All right. I just needed to have a little bit of that right there. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to leave that alone for a moment, and then I'm going to come on down and do part of the face. Now, I have browns, but we could mix a brown. I like this apple barrel chestnut brown. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that on out. And like I said, we could mix it, but just for time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze some of that on out right here. Don't need a lot. So I'm going to quickly, and I probably should have gone over these eyelashes. And I will tell you at a paint party, you may want to outline these just to make sure you do not lose them as you're working. All right. And you definitely want to do this before you get any paint on your canvas. But I am doing this now. All right. So we will go ahead and do these lashes and these brows right here. And you can definitely do this with your paintbrush. I just didn't want to lose it, so I'm letting you know it's okay. You got permission. I am just going to go ahead and stick with this 1/4-inch flat brush for most of the painting. It's nice to have the 1/2 inch, but you don't need it. And in a lot of the paint kits, you kind of get that 1/4-inch flat and a number, what is this, number 1 or number 0 size for this 8x10. All right, so let's go ahead and get some paint on the skin. And I want to go over those black lines, and I think I will because I'll be able to find them quickly. So we're going to move quickly. I should have added a little bit of water. I did not. So we're just going to go over here really, really fast and just give it a nice thin coat. I'm going to add a little water down here though. Okay. And I'm going around these edges. Okay. Now you don't want to leave this too long up here because then you'll lose your lines. Then you'll be upset. So I'm coming right back here to this face, going right up underneath this hat, going right to this edge. Okay. And now I'm just going to kind of smush all of this together. Then I'll get those ears here in a moment. All right. I like this chestnut brown. It's nice and warm. But if your skin tone runs a little bit cooler, you can always add just a little bit of blue or violet or just a little bit of black. So we're going to go in here and smooth all of this out here pretty quickly. And then we're going to let me make sure I got all of that skin. All right. Then I can go back in here. I hope I shared to the group. I can't remember. Then I'm going to go back in here and find my nose, my lips. Okay. You got a Q-tip, do that. I just want to show you can do a lot with just a little bit of the paper towel. And this paint is drying pretty fast up in here. So I'm lifting up a little bit to help me with a little bit of my shading. Okay, I'm going down here to this chin area right here. So I'm painting kind of in reverse with my little paper towel. I like doing that technique. I could add a little bit of white in here, sure I could, but we're just revealing some of the canvas. Okay, all right. So I don't know if you see that, but that's giving us a little bit of shading. All right, and you know what? I can go ahead and get that first coat of purple on these lips. Definitely will need a second coat. And I think I want to add just a smidge of white up in there to kind of give us a little bit more coverage. So when we get ready for that second coat, all right. Here we go. I think we're good. Okay. So that's coming together pretty fast, pretty good. And we're moving right on along. So let me go on in here and get, I got just a little bit of water on my brush, whatever happens to be there after I dabbed it out. And then I'm going right over here, over these ears. Okay. Now, of course, you can color those earrings whatever color you'd like. It's just something about that little pop of green that's super nice. All right, we're going around these little ears. Probably need to go ahead and add a little bit of black while I'm here. I think I'm going to add just a little smidge of black while I'm over here. Okay. Not a lot, but it is a little bit darker up underneath there. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, I don't know. This computer is mad with me today. It's loud. All right, so we've got some good things going on over there. I am going to clean up my brush just a little bit. I am going to take a little bit of this brown with a smidge of this white. Ooh, I made a mistake and got in that purple a little bit. Okay, let's see about this. All right, I thought I'd add just a little bit of that purple. Trying to make it a little bit lighter. All right. Take just the very tip of that brush with a little bit of water added in. And you can find that line around the nose. I'm going to go in with just a little bit more water. And I just want to use just whatever's on the tip. Okay. And once everything dries, you could definitely do this with that black Sharpie. But I'm just going to go on in here and go for it with this brush. Okay. All right. So hopefully that is starting to come to life a little bit. I keep getting brown paint on me. All right. Okay. Just trying to smush some of this brown paint into the surface. Let me clean this out just a little bit. I need to move this around just a little bit, I guess. I got started, but I didn't come back and finish this part. Okay. All right. That second coat usually tends to eliminate some of the brush strokes, that white canvas showing through, and it just makes it richer where you're looking at the actual color of the paint. But some people like the brush strokes. Okay. So now you don't want it to get too thick. All right. So I am coming right along right here. I'm just kind of cleaning this up, smoothing it out, and we're going to leave this alone, let this dry. This is just so relaxing. Okay, I'm going to have to come back and find those lashes here in a moment. Just trying to smooth the skin tone out a little bit over here. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're going to let that dry. We're going to work on another area here. And I think we're just going to go ahead and fill that hair in. And make sure I'm cleaning these brushes out as I go along. And it's just about time for another coat of this purple. Okay. All right, we're going to grab just a little smidge of blue while we're right here. And we, of course, should mix this off camera. But today, I guess I'm living dangerous. I'm okay with it. I'm going to get just a little bit more of this pink. I'm going to grab just a smidge of water. And we're going to spread this out. All right, we'll come back with some black there. Later. So we're going to go ahead and maybe add just a little smidge of the pink here, just to show that those little lips are popping, like in the detail. I need to grab some more white because I do not have enough. Oh, good thing I am cleaning out my brush. I had a whole lot of blue hanging around there. Okay, let me snag some of this white out of here. Let me get some of that. And I had a whole lot of oh, that's too much. Well, anyway, we'll come back and we'll work on that part right there. I am definitely not using the correct brush, but you know it happens. Let's see, while I have this here, I think I'm going to come right back here. All right, so we're coming along. All right. Okay, let's see if this is going to be the right brush. I may have to switch brushes if it starts to act a little wonky. Okay. All right. So, yep, if it starts to act a little wonky, we may have to switch things up. Okay, let me go ahead and I am just going to go straight to the black. I added a little water just because black is so strong. It can handle a little bit of that. I'm going to add just a smidge much more water and get some more black pigment. And this is just going to be my staging area. And you don't really have to worry about doing a whole bunch of three-dimensional things for the hair. You could, but you don't have to. All right, so I'm just going right along here, using the tip of my brush, going carefully around the face and the ear. And then we can maybe add a few details. But like I said, it's just a flat, simple shape. You don't have to do all of that. It depends on your interest level and your experience. Most of the time I'm working with beginners, so they're just glad to get some paint on the canvas. I'm glad for them too. Okay, so we've got some paint on the canvas. All right, and we're just using these training wheels right here. I'm going to add a little bit of water over here. I'm going to go in and get some pigment over here, and this is going to be our staging area here. Get a little bit more pigment. Mix in with the water that I have. And I'm basically just kind of mopping with the paint. I'm going to come along this ear over here. And if it gets too precarious, save that part for your Sharpie. All right, we're right up underneath this hat. And it's okay if you go outside the lines a little bit. But if it's bothering you a lot, just go back in and clean it up right away with a little paper towel, little Q-tip. All right. So that's coming along pretty well. We've got lots of details and things that we still need to do, but I'm going to say for like maybe the first hour, that's okay. And I think I might want to do a part two. So I may have to retitle this one part one, part two. Most of the time I will stick it out, but this is the beginning. Oh, and I forgot. Let me put the reference up here. And I think my internet is a little bit choppy too. Okay, yeah, I'm pushing buttons and it's acting like it doesn't want to respond. So I know. All right, so we're getting there. We're going to say this is part one and then we'll come back. Okay. All right, let's kind of move you back just a little bit. Awesome. We've gotten started. So let me put in here, and I'm sitting up here sweating. Part one. Part one. All right. Part one. All right. So then next time we'll know we're going to throw this other pink out and we're going to be ready to rock and roll. So I am so glad you were able to join me today. I'm not sure if I'm going to wait for next week. I don't know, to go live, but most of my viewers will catch the replay anyway. So enjoy. I don't know. I may pop that in there. I don't know. Decisions. I don't know if I want that as a freebie. Maybe I will. Anyway, until the next time, this is Bernaid Flurnoy signing off. Do something that makes your heart sing, makes your heart come alive, and then make sure you spread that joy with others. Okay? Stay creative. Even when you don't feel like it. You know, you may have to just imagine yourself creating if you can't get to whatever it is, whether or not you're writing or singing or, you know, making things with your hands. You know, I am not making a guarantee on coming back today or tomorrow, but I do know that we need a part two. All right, till next time. Peace to you. All right. We've got work to do. All right. We've got work to do. All right. Peace to you.